Hey everyone. I got an email last night about a project starting its SEO pretty soon. So I wanted to take this time to kind of dive in a little bit deeper. So this project actually starts its SEO on the 30th of this month. That's next Monday. That's very soon. So I wanted to review it now. It's called Nexo, and basically it's a kind of cryptocurrency loaning platform. And they currently do have kind of an ambassadorship program. And this video is going to be my application in that program. So I'm going to be just as objective as I normally am. I'm going to look at this project from all sides. I'm going to compare it to a couple other projects and in the similar kind of loaning space. So I'm definitely going to take this seriously and look at it from all sides. So why don't we start by kind of looking at the Nexo website. Let's get a feel for the project. So you can see instant crypto-backed loans. That definitely sounds exciting, like it being instant. I definitely think that's a plus. And you can see some of the features here. Guaranteed approval, no credit checks, definitely like that. No hard pull on my credit. You get to keep all crypto profits. That sounds cool. And flexible payments. That's also another really big. Here you can see they do have some experience in kind of the fintech and loaning sector, which is really big because they won't need to raise as much in order to do the loans. So you can kind of see some of their benefits, and we'll get to those. Let's kind of skip over this. Like I said, they have been around since 2007, so they've had plenty of experience in the kind of loaning and fintech sector. So this is kind of their history. This is kind of since 2007. You can see they've also done some Bitcoin integration. So they do have some kind of crypto experience. Then you can see some of their kind of problems and solutions, what they're trying to solve. See target market, some of their clients, their business model. It works just like a normal loan would. Okay, I want to show you this part so you can it makes for really flexible repayments because you can pay using fiat, you can pay using Nexo tokens. There isn't a minimum monthly payment either, and if the value of the assets goes up, you can sell the crypto as well and use that to pay. I'm going to skip this table just because I've kind of already done one. Let's keep going down all the way to, so this is the roadmap for the future. You can kind of see launching some, get to see some fiat and some crypto listed in here, some listings. Launch a Nexo credit card, I think that's a good thing. Now let's take a look at the team advisors. So they list advisors first. So you can kind of take a look and read some of the descriptions. Definitely some exciting people. Have a couple up. Let's take a look at their LinkedIns. So here's one. Let's go all the way down. So you can see he does list Nexo here, which is really good. You can see he also has experience in kind of the fintech and financial sector. So that's also good as well. Here's the other advisor. So you can see advisor and shapeshift. So he's definitely seen the crypto space. Now let's go over to their team. This is the co-founder. So you can see he's got experience. So that's just the kind of advisory board position for the loan company. You can see co-founders. He does have his masters too, so that I definitely like seeing that. Let's go over to one of the others. He's also a co-founder. So you can see he's got kind of law experience. So that's really good, especially for something like Nexo, to have someone like that as a co-founder, because I bet there's lots of legal precedent and ways to go about setting up the project the right way. And then the last, this is their CTO. So you can kind of go through his experience, has some co-founder, and you can kind of see some of his past experience, and then he does have a degree in IT. So I think if anywhere was kind of the weak point to build on, it would be the technology role. It's kind of underrepresented a little bit. There's lots of business and lots of marketing, but not as much programming. I'm expecting that to pick up after the SEO. Let's go over and take a look at the token metrics. Okay, here it is. There's when it will start on the 30th. The token price is 10 cents. Definitely like that. That excites me. They do have lots of tokens. 70% of them are for sale. I like that. So they do have a pretty high hard cap. It's 52. It's around 52 million. So that's pretty high. But you know what they're doing, they need to build out. Need to build up, like I said, that kind of programming background. I do have a prototype because they've been around for forever. I gave them 3 for the team. Obviously 2 for advisors. The team I could have went either 3 or 2 just because they were a little lacking in kind of the programming space. But they'll probably build that up. So right now they only need to function as kind of a business. So hopefully we'll see them build that up. Let's go over and take a look at the community. Okay, here it is. Obviously a really big community. This hasn't been updated since I've done my spreadsheet, but lots of excitement. So they do currently have a really high hard cap, but based on their hard cap, and the average person would have to contribute about 1.5 Ethereum in order for them to reach your goal. That's definitely doable. I've seen it much higher than that. So I'm not going to strike them out on there not being a community. So it definitely is a big, strong one. So I think just based on that, I think there's definitely a flippability. The long-term impact can kind of be debated, and we'll go into that a little bit more later on. But there's definitely a flippability here that I like, especially if it's only 10 cents a token. Even if it only goes up, to $1, that's still really big. So I do consider it in that. And then let's kind of take a look at the at my notes over here and compare it to some other platforms. So let's take a look at Nexo compared to Salt, compared to ETHLend and traditional lending platforms. So Nexo is worldwide. Salt, you do have there's a collateral check, and it's only for accredited U.S. investors, so that definitely narrows it down. ETHLend, it's worldwide, and traditional, it kind of varies. Some places there's tons, and other places there aren't as many. Okay, so what's the structure? Well, Nexo, it's centralized loans. So what that means is they basically act as a bank, they control the money, and they loan it out to you. So Salt and ETHLend are basically kind of loan marketplaces. So the person who loans out the money can dictate the terms of that loan. And then traditional loan, that's also centralized. Okay, so how do these platforms make money? Nexo's got interest rate. Salt has late fees. ETHLend also takes a little piece of your interest rate, and traditional also does interest rates, and then there are also some other fees that are usually tacked on those two, but that kind of varies. So what's the interest rate based on? Nexo, it's based on creditworthiness, and then SALT and ETHLend, it's based on the lender. So what about disbursement? So Nexo, it is ACH, so it's basically a deposit into your bank account, and that can take a couple days. That's also what SALT uses. ETHLend, it's immediate. So as soon as you pay it, as soon as you basically complete the sign up and paperwork and everything else, you get that immediately. So that's cool. Traditional, it's very slow. So you have to do a hard pull on your credit. You might not get approved, and then you won't know that for a while. And then eventually you get that ACH into your account. Okay, what are the role of the tokens? So Nexo tokens do a couple of things. One of them is provide a discount, and then the other one is it's actually a security. So part of other people's interest payments get basically redistributed to token holders. SALT tokens provide membership. Also, I wanted to say this. Sorry. The tokens are SEC approved too. That is really big, especially if you're in the US. You know how big that is. So I'd definitely like to see that. SALT, it's for membership. ETHLend, it's for interest rate discounts. And traditional, usually it's fiat or whatever. Usually there isn't a token for traditional investing. Or sorry, traditional loaning. Okay, so what's the biggest problems here? With Nexo, probably the biggest problem is it's slow. You have to wait a couple of days to get that. What's the problem with SALT? So the interest rate is determined by the lender, which is kind of terrible. So with an open market, I mean, the interest rate, it's going to be basically race to the bottom. Interest rates are just going to drop through, or it's going to be no one's going to be lending, and interest rates are incredibly high. And either way, that's kind of troubling. And also, one of the other things I don't like about SALT is if you want to borrow money, you put up collateral, and if the value of that collateral drops, you might have to put more collateral in than what you just started with in order to help secure that loan. So that definitely has me worried. ETHLend, no US, and then also it's Ethereum only. I kind of don't like building your business around another platform like that because, what happens if, something happens to Ethereum? What happens if Ethereum gets bought by some business and all of a sudden they want to, start making a profit and basically, just work on selling their platform instead of it being open source. You just don't know how these things will operate in the long term. So building your business around it makes me really worried. That's definitely a big red flag for me. And then traditional investing, it's slow. Usually don't get large amounts. It's really small amounts. It's high interest rates, and then, like I said, get that hard pull on your credit. So kind of the biggest positives. So Nexo, you can use gains to pay off your loans. So if you put in a token and the value of that token goes up in value, you can use that to pay off the loan. That is definitely cool. I definitely like how flexible Nexo is. And you can actually cancel out payments if that goes up enough. So SALT, the biggest positive, it's decentralized. So there's no central kind of loan issuer. With ETHLend, the crypto is pegged to the value when the loan begins. So definitely like that. I like the way they did that. And then you get instant disbursement. And then with traditional loans, probably the best thing about them is that they won't be around forever. So hopefully we can kind of get rid of them soon. Okay, so let's talk about why I do not like kind of distributed loan marketplaces, decentralized loan marketplaces. So the first one is there's a network effect. If there aren't people lending money, there aren't going to be, there won't be enough people on both sides. So if there aren't enough lenders, then borrowers wait. So if lots of people want money and there aren't enough people to lend it, what are you going to do? And also, like I said about free markets, the result is a race to the bottom. So if there's tons of lenders, they're all going to want, the only way lenders make money in a market like this is by actually loaning out their assets. And so that's going to result in them wanting to compete with each other and basically do a lower interest rate than everyone else to try to make your loans more attractive, and then that's what's going to cause the race to the bottom. And this is bolded because it's the biggest problem I see with loan marketplaces: asset fragmentation. So let's say I'm a loan, let's say I have one Bitcoin that I want to use to loan to people. What if, the person seeking the loan obviously doesn't want a whole Bitcoin? What if they only want, 1,000? Well, now all of a sudden I'm going to have to do 20 or so loans, to take up that whole Bitcoin value. Okay, well, what if I'm a person who handles other people's money and I have $1 million worth of Bitcoin that I want to manage? Okay, well, now that's, 20,000. That's almost 1,000 different transactions for you to do. If Bitcoin is $20,000, 50 per for $1 million, yes. So that's tons of these tiny little transactions that you have to keep up with. And then another question is, okay, what if I have a great interest rate with part of my Bitcoin, but I'm not able to get that with something else? And that's definitely confusing and frustrating to me. That's definitely going to kind of have to step itself up. And if I pay back part of my loan, what happens to that Bitcoin? Can I use it to, if I'm a lender, if part of it's paid back, can I use that to make another loan? Or am I just going to have to sit with it in my wallet until the whole loan is paid off? And that part, is definitely frustrating. And obviously the asset value drops. So kind of what I was talking about. It doesn't make any sense, the price is fluctuating for me to have it in a loan all the time. Okay, so let's talk about some of the problems with centralized loans. So this is like Nexo and traditional loans. Obviously it's lower. You need a large amount of capital to basically underwrite the loans. And it is centralized. So that's definitely a problem, and that leads to this. Interest rates determined by self-interest. So these loan companies basically look at your credit and get to assign you an interest rate based on that. And there's some people who don't like that. I kind of think that this kind of goes both ways. So, it's the same thing with a free market, because there will never be an equilibrium. So the people loaning it want to make the most money, and they're going to use the highest interest rates. And so they'll try to do that, and it's in their self-interest as well. So I definitely don't like that. Okay, so now I just want to brief talk about the target market of decentralized loan marketplaces. So it's people who have crypto but are risk adverse. Okay, so I want to go over the decentralized loan marketplace kind of target market. There's basically people who have crypto, which is kind of an inherently risky undertaking to get, and people who have low interest rates over the long term. So basically people who are happy getting, maybe 10, 20, 30% over 12 months. And if you have Bitcoin, who's going to be happy with that? Absolutely no one. Right now, you could literally buy Bitcoin, wait 12 months, and it would go up further than the loan would. So you get better returns just hodling than you would doing a loan. Especially if it's going to be a race to the bottom and your interest rates are going to drop off. Okay. Okay. I think I've covered kind of everything I could on that. Try to do it as in depth as possible. Try to research it from all sides. I'm definitely going to participate in the token event. Like I said, there's definitely some flippability here. So I'm going to get my Ethereum ready and take a run at it on Monday. I'll leave a link in the description. If you like this video, feel free to like it and subscribe. And thanks.